What's up, everybody? Christian and Gabe here. And before we get started on the show today, just want to remind everyone to come out Tuesday night, tonight, to the Players Club at Let It Fly in Germantown. This week, we will have Andarius Coffey, Terrence McClain, William Whitlow, and Kobe Drake joining us, so you can come in, eat, and check out the show.
And always, we have content everywhere, including Players Club, Tigers Untapped, On the Bluff, our podcast, Anthony Sane Show. Subscribe on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure.
Look, have mercy on me.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to On the Bluff. In the studio, I'm your host, Christian Fowler. My other host, co-host, I don't like it.
Yeah,
I like other hosts better.
Other host, okay.
Gabe Kuhn, in the flesh.
It feels so good to be back,
It is.
man.
It's nice
I've missed
to be
you
back.
guys. Kenny, I've missed you too.
Hey,
Believe
man.
it or not.
Listen,
Believe it.
believe it or not. Believe it or not. Screw you, man.
Man, it feels, every time one of us misses a week, it feels like years.
Yeah, it feels like it's been a minute. And you didn't even do the episode last week. Me and Kenny did it via StreamYard. So you really are back.
We
Yeah.
almost got Gabe to do it last week.
I get to talk some ball, like some actual,
some
like,
real, everything
real
is
ball.
100% live now.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that all later.
Okay.
Can't wait.
Okay.
One thing before we do get started, jump into the University of Memphis, defeating Arkansas State by 34 points. Gabe, T-minus
Oh, yeah.
2.5
2.5 weeks. Yes, sir. It's coming up.
Fired up.
It's coming up. I got that fire in my belly.
Yeah.
We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Still got to pay for a few things, but outside of that, we're
good.
doing well. We're doing all right.
Wait, why don't you, you haven't said, Christian, what it's in.
It's a wedding. It's a wedding. Oh, yes. Thank you, live studio audience.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Yes,
But
yes.
not just any wedding, Gabe Kuhn's wedding.
Yes. Do you have your outfit picked out, man? What you got?
No,
What you
I
got?
don't. I'll have something.
Okay.
I'll have a little bit of heat.
You strike me as it's based on the shorts. This is based on the shorts.
Yeah.
You strike me as tapered fit pants that end like right here, no socks, and you're gonna wear some loafers.
No.
So you're gonna go like you're gonna go regular.
You'll see.
Okay.
Momentarily, you'll see.
Okay.
I know I won't be like the focal point of this thing or anything, so that's a little bit disappointing, but
If there better be like one or two buttons undone if you have a blazer on.
yeah.
I don't need a tie or a bow tie.
No,
Just-
I'm not going to go
Yeah,
tie.
tuck it in. Couple undone.
Yeah.
Get the hamburger meat out.
You,
What little you
know
have.
I don't have any, so just chest. Just straight up chest.
I could give you some.
Okay.
We glue it on.
Yeah. You cut me some off, we'll glue it on. It's a good look.
Yeah.
All right, Gabe. You weren't.
Y'all know that.
Oh,
Y'all know that Gabe didn't ask me what I was wearing because he
Oh,
knows.
Kenny, what are you
he
wearing?
knows it's just the fat boy suit. Like I just have.
Yeah.
Like
You just have it sitting there.
I just have it sitting there. It's been sitting there for a long time. It's the same suit. It's just what I got.
My
man.
dad swore he was going to wear black jeans and a bow tie. And I was like, all right, that's fine. And then he took a picture of his suit the other day. And I'm like,
there we go.
you're a liar.
Yeah.
You're a damn liar.
Yeah, I don't have a suit. I mean, I do have suits, but I bought them when I was a much heftier man, so they do not fit.
Actually, I kind of want to see you wear that now. That'd
They
be
do
fun.
not fit good.
It's
at
like
all.
the suit jacket that I had when I was at the University of Memphis when I was like 325.
Yeah.
I still have it in my my closet.
Doesn't fit too well.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Mid-drift on that thing is crazy.
Yeah, and these suits weren't even bought when I
The
was
width is the craziest thing. Like the length of my arms is fine.
right.
But the width on that thing is just, good Lord, I was a big human being.
Yeah, I didn't.
And I'm
even-
still big, but good God.
I didn't buy these at 225. I bought them at like 185 because I was 225 at one point. So that would definitely be out of the question.
When we first started working together,
yeah,
doing them film breakdowns.
I was about 185 then. Yeah, that's when I bought those suits.
We picked a good year to do our film breakdowns, by the way.
The literal
year,
best
the
year.
Cotton Bowl year. That
The
was, yeah,
best year the University of Memphis has ever had.
yes.
And once again, they've started off 2-0. So they're undefeated at this point. The only undefeated team in the American Athletic Conference as of today. Not necessarily two impressive wins, Bethune-Cookman and Arkansas State.
They did what they needed
Not
to do,
impressive
though.
opponents. How about that?
Yes.
But impressive wins. What'd you think? Week 2, Arkansas State, 21-point favorites. They won by 34.
What I said going into that game is I want to see them leave, no doubt. It's as simple as I could put it. And they did not leave out.
Yeah.
To be fair. And the defense looks phenomenal.
Absolutely.
Again, always going to preface this and add the context. It's Arkansas State. We'll talk about them in a second because I really want to have a conversation about them. They were dreadful.
Yeah.
But DJ Bell, nice interception return. Chandler Martin, who we talked about in the preseason, all over the damn field. 7 tackles, 2.5 for loss. Forced fumble.
Yeah.
Secondary held up consistently. Run game, stopping the run, they look great. They have some playmakers now on the D-line that can actually get after the quarterback. Derek Hunter, 1.5 sacks.
Yep.
I think Jara Anderson had a sack as well. They can get into the backfield and create some havoc. So defense is the overwhelming positive. If I'm going to go negatives, if you're viewing this season through this team needs to win 9 or 10 games, I didn't like the offense that I saw.
Yeah.
I did not enjoy the offense I saw. But I'll say this, with where the defense is at, you feel good about being in every game, and that's all you can ask for.
Yeah.
And the offense can sort of fall in line, be timely, and figure it out as the season goes along. And that's sort of what we predicted. We figured the defense would be ahead of the offense, and defense would keep pace, and they've done that so far.
Yeah, it feels very different from the last 2 years because it felt like, and it turned out to be that way, if Memphis wasn't able to run up the scoreboard and outscore someone in a shootout, they weren't going to win.
I played 4 years at the University of Memphis, 3 of them of which there was no other way we were winning besides scoring 50 points and saying, hey, defense, stop them twice.
Yeah.
This is a different, I think, semi-positive change-up where even against great offenses, you feel like your defense can keep you in the game and give you a shot to win. That has not been the case.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel really good about it. Like you said, they not only have guys that can make plays, which on paper is a great thing, but when you watch them, there's a visible difference in the way they play.
Yep.
Like they're flying around to the ball. They're creating negative plays for other offenses. They're creating turnovers, at least a little bit at this point. They haven't had an onslaught game where it's like 4 or 5 turnovers yet.
That was 4.
Yeah.
It was 4.
It was 4. First game was 1.
Yeah, but 4 in the second game, I'd take it any day of the week, yeah.
And to get a touchdown from your defense, DJ Bell, someone that was kind of an unknown going into this year, getting a pick 6 in his second start, very positive sign. You mentioned Chandler Martin. He has the makings of a very good American Athletic Conference linebacker. Derek Hunter as well, 1.5 sacks in this game. Just overall, defensive line overwhelmed their offensive line. They won that battle up front. The other side of the ball, they didn't play terribly. Like, they had some effective runs. Overall, it wasn't great. I think they were under 4 yards per carry running. Seth Hennigan, not an incredible game again, but decently efficient. Yeah, he took care of the ball in this game, didn't throw any interceptions. I think he was 21 of 29. 239 and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. So pretty efficient game, nothing spectacular. I think overall for me, and this is what I'm concerned about, is are they keeping it vanilla because they played 2 bad opponents, or is it just a very basic offense? Like, will there be any creativity to this offense this year?
I think that in the pass game, they have the tendency to get creative. Like that RPO to Toski is fun, like wide open. They try to throw wrinkles at you like that. I think the pass concepts will be great, but I hate to be this guy. I'd go with the latter. I don't know if there's a lot of creativity in the run game.
Yeah.
Tim Cramsey hasn't shown it.
No.
He hasn't shown it. And Ryan, you don't think you would run into things like this having an O-line coach who was so successful at really setting up the O-lines I played on and right after I left when Mike was still here. All those lines just switched up concepts, running the ball. They'd get under center. They'd run traps. They'd run, sort of duos, if you will, straight up on, not a zone, but just sort of man blocking concepts. They'd run counter. They'd run You don't see any of that. It's inside zone, inside zone, inside zone, outside zone, inside zone, inside. It's just consistently out of the shotgun, handing a running back and in between the tackles and saying go. It's not working. You have to switch things up and give the defense a different look. And I don't think that Tim Cramsey's shown any level of tendency to do that. And I guess if you want to hold out hope, you could do your first thought there. Maybe they're keeping it vanilla because they want to save it for Mizzou. They want to save it for this stretch of good teams they're going to play. But I think based on the sample size that we saw last year, Tim Cramsey, this is his MO. Keep it very simple, inside zone, run it up the middle.
Yeah, and to me, the question was with Tim Cramsey coming into this season, it was, what does he do with dynamic running backs? Because the last couple of years, they've had some decent players, but not guys that were burners or that were outside runners. They had guys that were made to kind of run up the middle. That was, Jay Ducker and Asa Martin and these guys.
Brandon Thomas.
Yeah, Brandon Thomas. They were more guys that were going to be more effective in between the tackles. But with Sutton Smith and Blake Watson, those are guys that can get out in space and create plays. And I do like the fact that they're throwing them the ball. They're getting them the ball in space there. But as far as running the ball and the running schemes, they're just not getting them in space. They're just ramming it up the middle. I mean, Blake Watson had 20 carries for 51 yards in this game.
There's just no inventiveness.
No.
And there hasn't been since Ryan took over, to be quite frank with you.
Yeah, just to create lack of creativity.
Yeah, and it's just it's frustrating in a lot of ways. And, I guess the thought there would be you have to have the guys, even if you're going to differentiate schemes, you have to have the guys to be able to understand that and do what they're told and play their role within those schemes. And maybe they don't have the confidence in those guys to get that done. But still, I think you need to provide different looks because it makes the defense work and use their eyes and get uncomfortable sometimes. And they're just not doing that. They're just not doing that.
Yeah, I will say, though, I know you want to talk about Arkansas State, and we can in a second, but kind of moving forward, let's kind of finish this out talking about short week, Navy. I feel really good about this game.
16-point favorites.
Yeah,
it should.
Yeah, and usually there's always the concern with Navy of, the triple option, and we know Memphis's defense is typically pretty leaky, but with the way that this defense and specifically this front seven has played in the first two games, I have the least amount of concern I've had going into a Navy game in the last 5 or 6 years.
My only concern is they played good defense against a different concept than the triple option. Can they do it? I think Matt Barnes has shown an ability to do that. And even before that, you had Mike McIntyre. That was that 10-7 game that they won on the road at Navy. So, I think that the more they've seen Navy over the years, they understand how to defend the damn triple option, and they practice it in fall camp. They practice it, in spring camp because they always want to be ready for it. So I think they'll be fine. My concern, though, Christian, is injuries. You have a lot of depth up front, and the front seven's been performing at a high level. You don't want to have guys go down, and we know that in a Navy game, got guys diving all over at legs, scramble blocking at your legs. Yeah. You want to win this game and convincingly and stay healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree
and
with
it's a short week. That's the other part.
And talking about the triple option, it is a different defense to defend for most teams because you don't see it. But the counter to that is having 11 guys flying to the ball.
Yep.
That is it. If you've got guys gang tackling and your safeties are coming up and making hits and your linebackers are flying around, it's going to be hard for any team to run the ball 40-plus times a game.
Gap integrity and just tackle who you're supposed to tackle.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
And now they have the size up front to play against that. That's been a problem in years past, is they just haven't had the size and they've kind of been bullied at the point of attack. I just don't see that happening with guys like Derek Hunter up there. I just don't see him getting pushed back.
And by the way, he's listed at 265. Ain't no damn way he's 265, bro. What are we talking about?
I mean, I totally
I find that unbelievable.
Yeah.
That just doesn't seem right. And Jar Anderson barely looks like he's 265. He looks like he's got some height to him. Where he's a little slender, but he's not 260. He looks a little taller than that to where.
Yeah, so I'm encouraged by this game, even on a short week, because it's always Navy on a short week for the most part, and it's a lot of concern of if Memphis can get over this game, then fans typically feel good about the rest of the season. This is a bad Navy team. This seems to be a very good Memphis defense. I just don't have many concerns about this.
I want the offense to break out of their shell, though. This is the game where you need to show Navy will play at least serviceable defense compared to the first two opponents.
Yeah.
No pun intended, being that they're a service academy. But they'll play some serviceable defense.
Well done.
Thank you, Kenny. They'll play some serviceable defense, and I want to see them break out of their shell and try to differentiate schemes and try to sort of put it on Navy. And I think this is the same thing as it was for the Arkansas State game for me. Leave no doubt.
Yeah.
These are games that in the past 2 years you've let be closer than they should be.
Yeah.
Go in them early, often, keep putting it on them.
Agreed. All right, what do you want to talk about with Arkansas State?
Arkansas State, they've been outscored in the first 2 games. Granted, Oklahoma and Memphis, 110-3.
It's tough.
Butch Jones, I think, is about done. I don't know what you can do there. And I think he's one of those examples of a coach who got his shot, was good on the way up, got his shot at Tennessee, failed, and he has to sort of rebuild his career in his 50s, and maybe his heart's not in the same place, right? Like, we've seen examples of that in the past. But I almost think, like, looking at that team, that might be the worst team in FBS football. Like, we will be talking at the end of the year about how miserable they are and where they stand in the world of being the worst team in college football. Like, they not talented, not disciplined, and they add to it by not being well coached.
Yeah.
I was blown away at how bad they were. And I'm not trying to take shots. I promise you, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to do any of that. I am just telling it how it is. That is the worst Arkansas State team I have seen since being in Memphis, and it's not close.
Yeah, I mean, we were used to. I mean, not
They're
even
being feisty at least.
not even from a Memphis perspective, just from a national perspective. Like, you knew when you faced Arkansas State, they weren't going to be the most talented team, but they were going to play hard. They were going to be well coached by Blake Anderson and his staff. And it is not the same. It does not feel the same whatsoever. JT Shrout has been miserable in the first 2 games, and the lack of talent is evident, and then the lack of just schematically and coaching and discipline, all those things have been on full display. I mean, 110-3 in 2 games is miserable.
You have Butch crying on the sideline in game 1.
Yeah.
I just, man. And I don't know what Arkansas State does when it comes to, like, switching coaches. And we'll get off this topic in a second. But, I don't know their money situation. I think he's got 3 years left on his contract. But I don't know how you let him see the end of the contract. They have gotten actively worse under him.
Yeah, that's tough. Anything else we want to hit on? We are going to get to our second segment, I would imagine, relatively quickly because we have a whole lot to talk about. It's a busy sports weekend. Do you have anything else that you want to touch on before we send it to break?
Because I know I'm ready to talk about some Shedeur Sanders and some Colorado Buffaloes. Yep. And I'm ready to talk about Texas. Are they back?
Yeah.
Are they back? The real question.
You mentioned Shedeur Sanders, coached by his father, Deion Sanders, a.k.a. Prime Time.
Yes.
You know where I'm going with this? Yeah.
We got a guy on the other side that's prime time.
He's prime time.
Not today, boy.
Well, we're going to keep it that way. Some people in his lifetime have called him Kenny, Prime Time, Stubblefield.
I think so. Yeah, I've heard that.
I think so, too. So we are going to take a quick break, and we're going to see what Prime Time has on the other side for us with the Hot 3.
Yeah, Chris Harris, a North Memphis resident too. Yeah. I've seen.
Depending on where you draw the lines, right?
I saw you. I was driving when I lived in that crosstown area.
You texted me. You thought I was in trouble.
Yeah,
You thought my car broke down.
I saw you walking down the street. I was like, Chris Harrison might be on crack. But no, you were walking through North Memphis at like 9 o'clock at night. I said, Chris, you good?
Let's get some exercise, man. I mean,
I was like, my guy, you good?
I wasn't that far from the Valentine Evergreen Green Line,
but
know?
I knew you lived out that way, but I was like, well, let me check on my guy just to make sure.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was like, my man out here just walking through North Memphis out here. Yeah, for sure.
Tune in to The Anthony Sane Show, Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. Bluff City Media and Bluff City NIL are proud partners of Coaching for Literacy, a Memphis nonprofit using the power of sports to impact childhood literacy. When you donate to Bluff City NIL through Coaching for Literacy, your gift is 100% tax deductible. This partnership is a win-win-win. Tiger student athletes win in the NIL landscape, Coaching for Literacy wins by engaging Tiger student athletes in this monumental cause, and most importantly, elementary students in Memphis receive support to become strong readers. To donate today, visit coachingforliteracy.org/bluff-city.
Anything concerning? We've kind of talked about the picks that Seth threw, some high balls. Anything else that you saw Saturday that you're like, man, they need to get that figured out?
No, I don't think so, man. Especially nothing on defense. I think we looked incredible on defense. The one thing that I think would perhaps concern me is just we're still seeing Seth kind of float some passes and not really settling down. That's more nitpicking than anything. Like, you don't want to see your quarterback, your highly sought quarterback, playing Bethune-Cookman and throwing 2 interceptions.
I mean, I think Silverfield gave it a B-. I think that, given 56-14, but they went out and did what they needed to do, to me. I mean, you beat the brakes off of a team that you should beat the brakes off of, and you looked very good.
Exactly.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Discover a world of possibilities at Street Cars of Memphis. Revamp your ride with the ultimate auto transformation. From booming audio systems to eye-catching wheels, powerful lift kits to sleek drop kits, cutting-edge LED lights and light bars, we've got it all. Unleash your style with confidence. Feel the next level of auto care at Street Cars of Memphis. Your dream ride is just a visit away. Visit us online at www.901scm.com and let the transformation begin.
What's up, boys?
Hey, prime time. Prime time, Kenny Stubblefield.
It's the Hot
Kenny
Three.
Prime Time Stubblefield.
There you go.
Hey, it's the Hot 3 sponsored by Street Cars of Memphis, man. If you want anything done to your car, whether it be regular maintenance or if you want to pimp your ride, go to Street Cars of Memphis. Look in the description of the video of the podcast episode, and the link is there. Big shout out, Street Cars of Memphis. Boys, y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this thing, man. All right. I know this is like y'all's favorite time of the year. Christian is watching the game on the side of him. The game is going on right now. It is the Buffalo Bills versus the Jets. Lot of really good football. Obviously, let's start in college first before we get into NFL.
Week 2.
Week 2, Texas, Alabama, huge game. Texas beat Alabama. Colorado came back after an incredible win against TCU, played Nebraska, home opener in Boulder. Donkey stomped them up and down the field. What are y'all's thoughts on week 2 of college football?
Where do you want to start? Alabama,
Let's
Texas?
start with Texas, Bama. And I'm gonna throw you an alley real quick. Is this an indication of Texas is back, or is this an indication of Alabama is on the beginning of a decline?
I think that Alabama's been declining for some time, for like since they won the national championship with Mac.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, even with Bryce Young. Bryce Young's the best quarterback I think they had of those 4.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get anything done with that team because they didn't have the wide receivers. Their defense wasn't the same. That O-line had regressed. So I think they're regressing. But at the same time, like, I'm not ready to do the whole Nick Saban is done thing, because I don't think that's the case. I think he'll morph however he needs to morph to make that team good, even in his waning years. And I think he's a ball coach. I know Alabama fans don't want to think about him leaving yet, and I don't think he's going to leave, the next couple of years. I think he's a ball coach for life, and he really wants to just keep going until he can't anymore, due to health reasons. But I think Texas is back. I really do. And I think they are ready to go take on the SEC now. They have NIL money coming in. Sark has them playing well. He's got quarterbacks in the waiting. Likely Arch Manning, but he's got Malik Murphy, too, who was a high recruit. They have really good weapons on the outside. Xavier Worthy. They have, I forget the tight end's name, but he caught for 114 yards. A.D. Mitchell from Georgia was phenomenal in that game. Caught 2 back-breaking touchdowns.
Yeah.
The O-line owned what they needed to own. On defensive side, they bullied Alabama's big ass O-line. They have 3 dudes that are over 350, and they got after him. They held up in the secondary. I think Texas is that team, and I think what it really comes down to is people with Quinn Ewers. He is that guy. He was the highest rated recruit
ever
in recruiting since recruiting rankings have been a thing. He's the highest rated quarterback recruit we've ever seen. It shouldn't be surprising what we saw him do.
Right.
300 some odd yards, 3 TDs, 0 INTs. In my opinion, based on that win in Tuscaloosa, I know what Shador's done. I know what Caleb has done. That type of Heisman moment should put him at the top of the Heisman race in week 2 at least. Now we're going to have to see him continue to do that. But he had a prime time showing, unlike we've seen at Texas from a quarterback since, Vince Young?
Yeah.
And I hope he keeps it up because he is a fun player to watch. And that's the biggest difference to me is Texas finally has leveled the playing field from a talent perspective, and they have a coach that has them playing at a high level in Sark.
Well,
so I think it more, to answer your question, if we're going Alabama is declining at a heavy rate or Texas is back, I think both can be true at the same time. I think I would lean more to the Texas is back train than Alabama's going off the deep end and they're done. You know what I mean?
I've got some differing opinions here. And first off, we forgot Colt McCoy after Vince Young. So
Colt McCoy, sorry.
Is Alabama declining? I think Alabama has not been as good over the past couple years, but I also feel like that can flip quickly.
I think there's still a 9-win, 10-win team this year.
I'm not talking about this year specifically. I mean, obviously, I don't believe they're competing for a national championship this year. I don't think they're that caliber. And the reason why is not even, I know Jalen Milroe is kind of the obvious one to point at. They just don't have receiver talent. They don't. Like, Jermaine Burton was supposed to be that guy coming in last year. He has not been great. I know he caught 3 touchdowns on Saturday. 2 of them were called back. But Jermaine Burton's not a 1. Javius Bond is kind of a speed guy.
Kobe
Prentice was supposed to be the guy. Like in fall camp last year, his true freshman year, they were saying that he was going to be the next great Alabama receiver. That hasn't panned out. Like, they just don't have the dudes. I mean, when you're coming off of
skill players in general, because I'm not a big Jace McClellan fan. I mean, he's solid.
But I mean, they won big with guys like Damian Harris, who I don't think is like an
But the
elite
peak of their
running back.
powers was Mark Ingram, Trent Richardson, Derrick Henry winning Heismans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that. They're used to having Josh Jacobs.
But even last year, they had Jahmyr Gibbs, who was arguably the best running back in college football, but they did not have the weapons around him.
Yeah.
They do not have their biggest receiving
But I guess that's my other point is like now you take away the running back talent in a bigger way with Jace McClellan.
It's obvious.
And it's noticeable.
Yeah. I mean, their biggest receiving threat last year was probably Cameron Latu, their most consistent threat as a receiver. So I just think they've missed on some guys. It's not that they haven't gotten talent in that receiver room. You go look at where all these guys' recruiting rankings are. They're all high.
Studs.
They just haven't panned out yet. And so I'm not ready to write Alabama off yet. I don't think you were saying that either. But on the Texas's backside, it's going to take more than one game to convince me Texas is back.
I guess my point is, if there was ever a time over the years where we were going to say Texas is back, it's right now.
Agree with that. I do not believe in Steve Sarkisian.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. But I thought he had his team well.
He had them ready to go.
But here's the point, also that we do need to bring up: guy like Steve Sarkisian. Yeah, you can get guys prepped for an Alabama game at Tuscaloosa. Those guys are that speaks for itself. What does it look like when you play Texas Tech in conference?
Yeah, exactly.
And you just get into one of those knockdown dragouts in Lubbock, or I don't even know their schedule right now off the top of my head, but one of those games that you have to sort of build yourself up to play instead of the built-in emotion of playing at Alabama.
And that's where I think we see what this team really is.
Yes.
What do they do in the weeks where they're not at the top? Because they played Rice last week, and they did not look good.
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yep.
Didn't look good for the majority of that game.
But Rice may be better than we thought.
Rice may be better than we thought, man.
2 OT win against Houston.
Come on.
Okay, but we're talking about a game.
JT Daniels, GOAT.
Yeah.
GOAT conversation.
Yeah, we're talking
Heisman runner-up.
We're talking about a game last week where JT Daniels was like in the first half, like 9 of 17 for 60 yards and 2 picks.
Right.
and Texas could not take over. Quinn Ewers did not look extremely sharp. And I'm still not sold on Quinn Ewers. I'm not going to be sold on. I know the talent is there, but I'm not going to be sold on Quinn Ewers until he does it consistently.
Yeah, no, that's what college football playoff. That's what national championship teams do. Is week in, week out, you just find a way to win, and most weeks find a way to dominate. But even like a team like Georgia had issues with that last year. They almost lost to Mizzou at Mizzou.
Right.
So it's hard to do no matter what to keep that same energy every single week. But if they just stack a bunch of wins on top of each other throughout Big 12 play, then Texas is back.
Yeah, I mean, it can happen. It can absolutely happen. I'll just believe when I see it. Because like you said, Adonai Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, Jaheim Sanders. What's the other receiver's name? Is it Jordan? Is it Whittingham or Whittemore? Whittingham. Yeah, I feel like he's been there for 37 years.
And I have to find this tight end's name because
it's Jaheim Sanders.
Is it Jaheim Sanders?
Yeah, he's incredible.
Are we sure it's Jaheim?
I'm fairly certain. I'm fairly certain. If I'm wrong, I'm going to be pretty embarrassed.
You said that with extreme confidence.
I'm sorry. I have to call him out now.
I think he went to IMG Academy.
Jatavion Sanders.
Jatavion. I was close.
Yeah.
I don't know where Jaheim came from, but
Jaheim Bell, maybe.
Jaheim Bell. That's 100% right.
I got you.
That's exactly
what
I
you
was
think.
But yeah, they're extremely talented as far as weapons go, and they've got some younger running backs. Obviously, with Roshan and Bijan gone, but they've been impressive as well. Like they run hard. They run like Bijan and Roshan. Like they run hard.
Yeah.
And we'll see. We'll see how it all goes. But moving on, let's talk a little bit of Colorado. I'll start us off here. Travis Hunter plays over 120 snaps again. Didn't have the same number of receptions in this game, but as far as just his ability in the open field was on full display.
He's the Shohei Ohtani of college football.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And Shedeur Sanders, everybody in the first half of this game was like, oh, okay, we hyped Colorado, and here they go. Shedeur Sanders had I think 87 yards at the half. Comes out, finishes 395 and 3.
393, 31 for 42, 3 TDs, no INTs.
Right.
And he got sacked 7 times, and he didn't get flustered at all. I'll get to him in a second because I have a real question to ask you.
Okay, is it about Matt Rule?
No.
Okay, I thought that's where you're
It's about Shedeur Sanders.
Okay.
But the Travis Hunter thing, at some point, I know how hard it can be if you're Coach Prime. You're like, this guy is a absolute game changer on both sides of the ball. How can I keep my best wide receiver off the field? Or how can I keep my best DB corner off the field? I think just based on pure snap count, how that affects your body, what it can do for, late season injuries and getting banged up, I think at some point he's going to have to skew one way or the other. Doesn't mean you take him off the field offensively the entire game. You can play him some snaps, but you have to at some point start to limit those snap counts at least a little bit.
Yeah, because not only are you worried about exhaustion at that point, but injury as well. Just soft tissue injuries, hamstring, groins, all that stuff.
A hamstring will pop if you play that many plays 8 games in a row. That's just not sustainable. And I think, I want your opinion on this too. If you're going to skew him to one side of the ball or the other,
defensively,
I think you skew him defensively and give him more limited snaps on the offense because you already have the 2 guys from South Florida.
Yeah.
You have some guys on the Dylan Edwards is a good pass catcher as well at the running back position. I think you would skew him to the defensive side because you have more depth at wide receiver than you have at DB.
He's by far your best defensive player.
Yeah.
And he's
Shiloh can play too, by the way.
Yeah,
he comes down and hits.
he does.
He doesn't play like his dad. His
No.
dad wasn't much of a tackler, but he would. I mean, he didn't let anybody catch the ball. But Shiloh runs that alley and smacks you.
But I think he is their best defensive player. And offensively, you've got Shedeur leading the way. You've got Dylan Edwards. You got Jimmy Horn, who you mentioned. So they have guys there that can make plays. Now, if you're in crunch time of a game where you have to have it, then he's on the field.
Yeah.
But for him playing 120 plus snaps for a 12 plus game season, that's tough.
You can't do that. You just cannot. I'm not going to say it's impossible. We just never seen it done.
Right. No one's ever done it.
But also, I was thinking about this too. South Florida, Xavier Weaver and Jimmy Horn Jr. were on that team for the last 2 years?
Yeah.
What the hell? I mean, Jeff Scott's just that bad?
Yeah, I guess so.
He's miserable. Now to my Shedeur Sanders question.
Okay.
Through 2 games, 903 yards. I think he's 4th through 2 games in Pac-12 history. The touchdown numbers are astronomical. His numbers in general are astronomical. And I just sat there and I watched him. Drop back in the pocket, terrible O-line in front of him. He got sacked 7 times by that Nebraska defensive line, and he never got flustered. He gets through his progressions. He'll look. He'll survey. He can create time using his legs. He's 6'2", 215. He was a 4-star recruit. He was recruited by Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Florida State. Like, you shouldn't be surprised that he's good. But NFL, talk to me. What do we think about him as a prospect? I'm starting to see him move up boards. Mel Kiper, I think, put him into his top 5 when it comes to quarterbacks.
I've already seen him mock as a first-round pick.
That's a pro to me. That is a top 2 round pick to me. Watching him, because usually when you talk about good college quarterbacks, you get worried about their processing speed and how they process the information.
You see all that.
That dude gets through every progress. He'll go through it all as long as he has time. He'll get through it all twice if he needs to, and in a quick, timely manner. And then he'll create more time for himself with his legs. He always keeps his eye downfield. I'm not going to say he has the best arm in the world, but he's accurate and it's good enough.
Yep.
Like Joe Burrow, for example, doesn't have like a hose.
Right.
It's just where it needs to be when it needs to be there.
Yep.
And I think that Shedeur Sanders shows that he's got NFL first-round upside.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. And I was just talking about Quinn Ewers, right? I'm not sold on Quinn Ewers.
Right.
I know the talent's there. And we talk about football guys. We talk about this all the time with quarterbacks. Some of them just have it. And there's never been a firm, concrete definition of what it is. But when you see it, you know it. And he's got it.
That's it.
And I don't see that with a guy like Quinn Ewers. I see that immediately when I watch Shedeur Sanders, like the confidence, the moxie.
How many guys can get hit 7 times? I think he had 7 sacks for 53 yards and just continue to process information, take your time in the pocket, create more time with your legs, not worry about
never
getting
get
hit.
sped up. Never get sped up mentally.
Never get sped up. Like he's never flustered.
Yeah.
He's got that cool, calm, collected attitude. The guy last year that had that cool, calm, collected attitude, that like if I'm pointing out a quarterback, it was Bryce Young.
Yeah.
That's the guy. Like from a headspace standpoint, even in that atmosphere they were in,
never panicked,
even though he got sacked 7 times, still delivered the ball 31 for 42, 393 yards, 3 TDs against maybe not a good team in Nebraska, but a good defense.
Yeah, extremely impressive. Extremely impressive in what they've done. They were a 3 or 2.5 point favorite in that game.
That line was always too damn small.
Yeah, they kicked in the door on that one. Any other major storylines from week 2 of college football? I know it was week 2 is.
Ole Miss over Tulane. I was impressed with Jackson Dart the second half of that game.
Yeah.
He showed up. I thought he was the reason they won that ball game. His O-line.
It wasn't the run.
His O-line did not play well, and I know I'm going to get into the weeds here a little bit, but the right tackle, Micah Pettis.
Yeah.
He's in his 2nd year. He's a sophomore. He looked awful. I think he went on Twitter and said that'll never happen again and yada, yada, yada. But he's a guy who's going to get some NFL looks, and he looked
bad.
2 straight holding calls, false starts, just getting beat all day. But Tulane's got some juice about him.
They do.
That defense shows up.
Front 7 is really good.
Patrick Jenkins, the transfer from TCU, he's going to be a load to handle for that Memphis O-line.
Yeah.
That's. I have concerns about that already, but we'll see how Memphis does the next couple of weeks. And then the other final game I'll talk about is Miami over A&M. And
A&M is who we thought they were, and Connor Wigman is who we thought he was.
Is Tyler Van Dyke getting back to, hey, this might be a solid NFL draft prospect?
I don't know.
374, 5 TDs, no INTs.
But this is you can point at Tyler Van Dyke's career.
Or you can point to the A&M. He's had games like that, but you could also point to A&M secondary and be like, they were awful.
Yeah, but Tyler Van Dyke has been hyped as a potential first-round NFL prospect for multiple years now.
But last year killed it.
It did.
Because they were so bad.
They were so bad. But I've never seen anything from him where I'm just like, he's legit.
It's literally the opposite of Shedeur Sanders, where you're like, this. I don't know about this guy. I don't see it.
Like I get it. I see.
He's 6'5", 220. He's athletic. He's got a rocket for an arm. He's usually athletic.
Will Levis. Same thing with Will Levis.
Usually accurate.
You and me last year, we hated Will Levis. Like we were not high on Will Levis at all because, yeah, he can have the cannon.
But damn, look at these physical attributes.
You're right. And that's what teams get stuck on. So yeah, Connor Wigman not look good. Bobby Petrino.
I like Connor Wigman though, for the most part.
I don't think he's that good.
He just needs. I don't know. I really wasn't even that. After the first quarter, yeah, the offense slowed down, but I thought that was just A&M has all those 4-star and 5-star, defensive linemen and secondary members, and they all sucked.
Well, I got news for you. We've got the Bills Jets game pulled up over here. Our first touchdown scorer bet did not hit. Sorry.
I know we've gone long-winded with this first one, and Kenny's doing the hot three, but last thing, are we at the breaking point with Jimbo? We gotta be close
this year.
Gotta be close.
Yeah.
I mean, what 7 wins? Damn, man. Like I don't know if A&M's gonna want to sit around and keep waiting on this thing to happen.
And folks keep talking about his buyout. Texas A&M don't care about that.
Texas A&M,
they don't care about that.
If those donors want to go win and be taken seriously in the college football playoff conversation,
they'll pay that money.
They'll pay $80 million tomorrow.
Yeah.
But also the other conversation is who the hell else would they bring in that is actively better? That's a different story for a different day.
Right. Kenny, number 2.
Number 2, NFL week number 1. Obviously the week started off with the Lions and the Chiefs. Lions ultimately won that game. Apparently there's an asterisk next to it.
Oh God.
Come on, Mike.
Tirico.
Apparently there's an asterisk, I guess. And it's going on right now. The end of week 1 is happening right now. The Bills versus the Jets. What are some of the big takeaways y'all have from the week 1?
On the asterisk thing from Mike Tirico, we can say there needs to be context added without calling it an asterisk. An asterisk means this didn't actually count.
Right.
This you take this in one year, out the other. No, I thought the Lions showed a hell of a lot of resolve going on the road at Arrowhead. I don't give a damn if Chris Jones, Travis Kelce were playing or they weren't. For them, the Detroit Lions, to go win a game in the final minutes of the game, 21-20 over the defending champs, to hell with talking about an asterisk. No. Yeah.
We have been pounding the drum for Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes all offseason, you and I. And I'm not saying this is some like, oh, we nailed it, it's week 1, whatever. But what I will say, we talked about the defensive additions that they made 4 or 5 times. And you saw them all make impact.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson
everywhere. Jack Campbell showing why he was a first-round pick, just his athleticism, his range, his ability to cover. The other corners, Manuel Mosley and Cameron Sutton.
Solid.
Brian Branch, who they drafted out of Alabama with a pick 6.
Kadarius Toney's
trash.
Catch the damn ball.
But yeah, just overall great win for the Lions. I know there's no Kelce, no Jones. That game probably is different, looks different if they're not there. But that's football, dude. Like
if that game was in Detroit, it would have looked different.
Right.
It's just that, man. Football is football. You're going to have to deal with injuries. You're going to have to deal with opposing crowds. You have to deal with all these ulterior things. I don't think you need to put asterisks over things. Patrick Mahomes was playing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
We can say we should add context to that win. There was no Chris Jones and no Travis Kelce. Don't do the asterisk thing. I think that's too far.
Let's talk about. Oh, you got something else on this game?
On the Brad Holmes front, everybody wanted to talk all this nonsense about their draft and what they did in the first round because of positional value. And me and you sat here the entire time. We go, okay, maybe you don't want to take a running back at 12. Maybe you don't want to take an off-ball linebacker in the first round. But both those guys mean something. Jameer Gibbs, Jack Campbell. Then you go to Sam Laporta. He looks like a hell of a target.
Yep.
5 targets, 5 receptions.
Yep. Brian Branch.
Brian Branch was phenomenal. You just go up and down that rookie class. That was a great draft class.
As they've had consistently. Aiden Hutchinson, Penei Sewell.
He was insane.
Yeah. I mean, over the last couple of years, Aiden Hutchinson, Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, they've hit on so many of these picks, and it's the reason why now
they just need speed on the outside. Once Jameson Williams gets back, you feel a lot better about that offense.
Let's talk about another big storyline of the week, and it happened in the Miami Dolphins and Los Angeles Chargers game. I'm not gonna lie, I've been a Tua Tagovailoa supporter.
Me too.
Since day one at Bama, and I've never jumped off the bandwagon.
But relatively, because the injuries have been more of.
But
I know how good of a player he is, but he's got to stay on the field.
Yeah, but and here's the thing: even that is overblown. I think the injuries, the concussions, and all that. Not from a not like saying that, but
in the moment last year, I don't know if it was overblown.
I agree, but injuries as a whole are typically freak things. To get 2 concussions in a year that are as ugly as they were is a freak thing. And he put on weight. The offensive line, who has been pretty bad over the last couple of years, kept him extremely clean against LA's front seven. He threw for 466 yards. I think he had 2 touchdowns in that game, both to Tyreek Hill. No, he had 3.
3.
Yeah,
2 to
River
Tyreek.
Craycraft and 2 to Tyreek. Tyreek Hill said he was going to go over 2K this year. He's well on
I
pace
believe
for that.
you. Right now, I believe you.
If both of those guys stay healthy, that's probably going to happen. 11 for 215 and 2. Great start. Didn't even have to use Jalen Waddle a ton. Yeah, I was extremely impressed. One throw that I was, and if we're talking football, we're going to get in the weeds, so we'll try to speed these things up and talk a little bit quicker about them. The drive where they had to go down and score a touchdown.
There's 2 throws on that one.
Yeah, but the one where he steps up in the pocket, kind of
Khalil Mack on his back,
moving a little bit to his left, and just throws it. And Tyreek Hill doesn't break stride.
It was a hole shot too. It was it was in between
a safety and a
corner sitting, safety over top.
Yeah, money. Tyreek Hill.
And he didn't lead him all the way into the safety. He took some off of it to where Tyreek Hill could slow his feet and not get murdered.
Yeah. Tua as far as accuracy goes is so up there.
That's
in the NFL.
why when Mike McDaniel last year, everybody freaked out about Mike McDaniel saying he was the most accurate quarterback in the NFL. I never freaked out about that. I was like, because he doesn't have the biggest arm. Why do you think he's in the position he is? Because he puts the ball on target. And you can be impressed with that throw. And I was impressed with that throw, especially given the situation. SoFi was getting loud, 34-30, minute 45
You're going
left.
to the touchdown.
Yeah. That damn fade ball
it was money.
to a 5'10" wide receiver. I don't care if it's Tyreek Hill or not. He didn't even have to jump for a fade ball. It just fell right into his arms.
He hardly had to move his arms. It really almost hit him dead in the chest.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of people talking trash on Tua because when he's on the field, he's great.
Great.
466 yards. He only trails, I think, for an opening game, Dan Marino, who had 471. But in a Dolphins uniform.
Yeah, just Marino.
Yeah, but good God, man, this guy can play.
Yeah.
And you need to start respecting it. On the other side, though.
Chargers,
but they have 4 guys that make over $15 million a year on that defense, and they're paying basically to have that defense be the worst in the NFL.
Yep.
Their run defense has not improved since Brandon Staley's been there, and he was supposed to be defensive coordinator extraordinaire after his days with the Rams, right? Like
Aaron Donald makes you look really good.
He was supposed to be that guy. He comes into the Chargers, and I don't see anything resembling a NFL defense, or at least a playoff NFL defense. It's embarrassing.
And
I'm tired of Justin Herbert bearing the brunt for his defense being awful all the time. And then people will say, well, he doesn't come up clutch in clutch moments. I think he's either first or tied for second with go-ahead drives in the time he's been in the NFL. In that same time period, he has either again first or tied for second with the amount of go-ahead drives.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been hot and cold on Herbert throughout his career. Talent is immense. One of the best arms in the NFL. But there's just so many moments you can point to and say, and it's not all on him though. I think
the intentional grounding was bad at the end.
It was
of that
bad.
game.
Yeah, it was bad.
But he also had people breathing
taking
right down
sacks
his neck
at the end of the game. Yeah, and that offensive line should be better than it. I mean, overall,
Dolphins heated them up and they didn't pick it up. They had 5-man protections on,
and I don't think we got to see Herbert really do his thing in this game.
The run game looked good.
They ran for 235 yards. So Herbert didn't really have to be the savior in this game until he needed to be.
I think Kellen Moore is going to have that offense humming.
Yeah.
I know that.
I've seen it a lot.
Well, I know, but like Cowboys fans.
You know who they don't hum against? Good team.
Well, but I think it's different with Justin Herbert compared to Dak.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, because some of the pass concepts and the throws that Dak was asked to make, Justin Herbert can make those.
Without
Dak
a doubt.
can't.
I agree. Yeah, I'm with you. Well, I'm excited to see what it looks like because I'm not shading Kellen Moore. I think he's a good offensive coordinator.
All right, talk about your Cowboys. Come on.
Good week 1 win.
Yeah.
For sure.
Defense,
and
man. Special teams ruled the day.
Yeah. I still have concerns about the run defense.
Yeah.
They finished 22nd in
Mozzie
the league
looked
last year.
bad in preseason, too.
Mozzie is slow off the ball. I don't like taking raw players in the draft. I'm a BPA guy. Take the best player available.
Yeah.
Especially if you're one of the top 10 teams in the league, like just take the best player available. Don't reach for positional value. The last
They
time
need it though. If Mozzie can grow to what we think he can be, that will be a massive addition.
The last time that the Cowboys reached on a first round pick, it was Taco Charlton.
Yeah.
They haven't reached since, and they nailed pretty much every first round pick. But overall on the game, like I said, a little bit concerned on the run defense. We'll see. It hasn't been good the last 2 years. It's been the reason that the Cowboys have lost in the playoffs to the 49ers 2 years in a row because they've just gotten out physicaled. But overall, Dan Quinn, hell of a job as a defense. He's done incredible.
Micah's unblockable.
Okay, tell me this. And most people probably wouldn't notice this because you have to kind of know the roster deeply to understand this. I've never seen a defensive coordinator play so many safeties in my life on the field at the same time.
Yeah.
Wanya Thomas. No one even knows who Wanya Thomas is. He was an undrafted free agent last year. He's the one who blocked the field goal, and he was all over the field. Marquise Bell, undrafted for rookie last year as well. He signed him to the biggest contract. He was playing linebacker the majority of the game, flying around, taking people's heads off. J-Ron Curse, everybody knows J-Ron Curse. Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson is a starting safety who wasn't even in on this game. They had packages where they were playing 5 safeties on the field at the same time. Like, you don't see that. Dan Quinn's just a great defensive coordinator.
And he also, I sort of wonder, like, for him, just game planning, considering how ridiculous your pass rush is.
It's so, I
feel like it's just easy to scheme behind that.
Yeah.
You don't have to think that hard.
You don't. I was texting one of my buddies.
Especially when you have a 16-point edge just like in the first quarter or whatever it was. Like, you can just, all right, pin those ears back and go kick the Giants' offensive line's ass. And Giants' offensive line can run block, but they can't pass block a lick. Evan Neal is so slow, and his edge is shorter than Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah,
I mean, it's ridiculous.
John Michael Schmitz was their best offense. Kenny thought that was funny.
Kenny did think that was funny. Yeah.
That took me a second. I was like, who does Tyrion Lannister play for? Oh, Game of Thrones reference.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, but no, they are terrible.
Yeah, John Michael Schmitz, the rookie in his first game, was their best offensive lineman.
Andrew Thomas
he's all pro.
And then I stand by this. I think one of the worst starting O-linemen in the league is Mark Lewinsky, their right guard.
Yeah.
He got the one time he got a one-on-one against Micah. Micah was past him for a sack in half a second?
It felt like it.
And he didn't even make a move. He just ran inside, and Mark Lewinsky's like, ooh.
Yeah. No, the Cowboys legit. They have, if they stay healthy, defensive line, they have the talent to break the NFL sack record. That's how good they are up front. I'm not homer biased Cowboys fan. They're
how many
legit.
They have last night? 7. Yeah,
7. And could have technically had another one because that fumbles don't
Dorrance,
count.
Sam, Micah, Oso Digizua is a really good interior pass rusher. D-Law.
Yeah.
Come on, dude. It's ridiculous.
Chauncey Goldston had 2 sacks last night. One was called back. They just got bodies everywhere. And Micah Parsons is, at least in game 1, he's transforming from very good player to generational type player.
I don't even.
No. But here's the difference.
No,
just listen. Here's the difference. Micah in the past 2 years, you just put him out on the edge. You let him win those one-on-one battles.
He played off ball.
He's taken doubles as a 255 defensive end playing 3-tech. There was a play last night. He lined up as a nose tackle.
I know. I saw, but that was a stupid play because he did end up sort of getting thrown.
I know, but that just shows you The guy
That shows you Dan Quinn is he is an experimental,
he will
insane man. He's a crazy man
He
too.
is.
Don't line up Micah at nose. You can line him up at 3.
Yeah.
That's fine. I can deal with that. Get a one-on-one on a
Right.
guard. He'll kick their ass every time.
But line him up at nose tackle was pretty funny.
Come on, brother. That's too much.
It was. But yeah, it was good week 1. We didn't get to see much from the offense. I felt like I liked the play calling that we saw. It looks like they're going back to more play actions and boots, and it looks much more like the offense that we were running early in Dak's career when he was extremely successful.
I mean, I even saw a read option thrown in there where Dak
Right.
kept it. I've always thought, like, especially in the red zone, that should be you should dial that up all the time.
100%. You got a 245-pound quarterback.
And you have a good running back.
But since he dislocated his ankle, they just haven't gone back to it. Now
But I
is the
think
time. I think we're at the point now. Tony Pollard, awesome.
Stud.
Yeah, just awesome. But that was it. That's my thoughts.
And then finally, and we'll be quick. Bengals lost.
Terrible.
That was terrible.
Yeah, 82.
14 for 31 for 82 yards.
Yeah, T. Higgins no catches.
5 years, $275 million. That's the first
performance.
First bit of film he
First
put back
performance
out.
after that was the worst game of his entire NFL career. Also, Aaron Rodgers
Hurt.
third or
They
fourth
say it's
play of the game.
ankle. They say it's ankle.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll know when this comes out
Yeah.
tomorrow what the diagnosis is. But as of right now,
Yeah, Schefter just reported that test came back negative. X-ray
Brace.
That's
came back.
good news. That's
Yeah.
good news. But it could be a lot of different things.
turf toe,
It could be-
high ankle
be-
sprain.
But
That's
that takes away
two
Liz
thoughts.
Frank, broken foot.
Right.
Now, MRI results aren't through yet.
No,
so
it's
it
just
could be
X-rays.
It's just
something there.
X-rays.
I thought it. I mean, it looks like a mid-foot injury or like a high
like-
ankle sprain.
They showed a real slow motion kind of up close play of it, and it looks like a toe.
Yeah, that's what I said.
It
as
does
soon
too.
I thought,
but
turf toe.
his ankle turned out.
It did.
too.
Yeah.
So there is that.
You guys will know when this comes out what that is. 'Cause we
The
don't.
Jets
right
are definitely cursed.
They are.
And I hate to be this guy, and I know this may offend some people. It was Aaron Rodgers' fault that he got hurt.
now.
it
For
was.
holding the ball too long.
Yeah, it was a 3-step drop. He had his
Garrett Wilson wide
tackles
open.
cutting. He had Garrett Wilson on a slant wide open. He's supposed to get rid of that in 3 steps. You don't have a tackle cut unless it's quick game.
Right.
And he decided that he wanted to hold on to it, and he ends up getting sacked and hurt. I wish I didn't feel that way, but based on what my eyes tell me from that play,
Right.
it was his fault. And he did it twice on that drive.
He
the
did.
second time is when he
When it
got
happened.
hurt.
All right, Kenny. Last topic, and let's get out of here.
Let's go UFC 293. Just a stunning event, man. I think nobody thought that Sean Strickland had even a chance against the GOAT middleweight. I mean, at this point, obviously
agree.
between him and Anderson Silva,
That was bad.
but Sean Strickland came in and just beat his ass all 5 rounds.
He did.
Yeah.
In the second round, I think Izzy got him.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, but that was. You're damn
Yeah,
right,
the
that
first.
was
I
it.
mean, it's crazy to think about. A lot of people would think because Izzy lost to Pajeda TKO that he had been knocked down before. This was the first knockdown ever scored against Israel Adesanya in his UFC career.
And Sean Strickland came
And it
right
came-
after him and got a bunch of shots in on him
Yeah,
right after.
yeah, like a freaking madman.
You know what it felt like to me? It felt like Izzy came in thinking this was going to be relatively sweet. He got caught early, and he figured, okay, I was going to bring this 5 rounds, but now I'm behind a little bit. But he never
He
pressed
never put the
forward.
foot
He
on the
couldn't-
gas.
But that's what bothers me, though, because like I think people wanted to like he fixed this fight. He wasn't aggressive even when he needed to be. He never fights like that. He always is fighting off his back foot.
Yeah.
So he's not built to mount a comeback and knock you out when he needs to, especially if someone knows they're up on the card.
Right.
I'll give Sean Strickland credit, though. Even when he knew he was up on the card, he
didn't stop.
Pressure on, stayed in his face.
He had Izzy moving back for 25, like for the
Yes.
full 25
Yes.
minutes. Izzy was moving back. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was shocking. Israel Adesanya is clearly the better fighter of the two, at least the better striker of the two. But it just looked like Sean Strickland wanted it more on Saturday
I think
night,
Izzy,
and I think
Izzy thought it was going to be sweet.
I think he had a good game plan too. And Eugene Behrman, Izzy's coach at City Kickboxing, talked about it after the fight, and he was like, one thing that I think really threw him off guard is that every time Izzy threw, Sean threw. He counterstruck 100% of the time, and it just had Izzy hesitant and guessing and not knowing when to throw. And
he's always the one making everyone else guess.
right. So It was definitely interesting. What was Izzy minus
600,
675?
Yeah.
I believe.
I think it's the biggest. It's definitely I'm pretty sure it's the biggest upset in Vegas in UFC championship history.
Well, Matt Serra and GSP was a big upset. So people were comparing the two.
Well, but like how far? What was the line on that?
My GSP was minus 1,200.
Okay, so yeah, that's the biggest.
And
one.
the
But
biggest
that's
one of
gotta-
all time is Ronda Rousey, Holly Holm. Ronda Rousey was minus.
So I was way
1,300.
off with my stat.
Yeah.
My statistician needs to get fired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get him out of here.
do y'all think so? Dana came out and basically said there's going to be a rematch.
Yeah, you got to run it back.
So do you? I mean, where do y'all stand on it? Y'all think Sean can get him again, or do
I
y'all
think
think
I think Izzy wins. And we talked, me and my friends, after we watched the fight, we talked about this too. It's like, man, is Izzy just at a point of dominance in his career where he has to be motivated?
Yeah, no, that like it felt like
100%?
based on what I saw, it seemed like lazy camp. I'm going to take him 5 rounds and outstrike him.
Yeah.
That's what his plan was.
Because same thing, Alex Pereira, Izzy comes out and looks like a freaking monster. And I think if this would have been Dricus du Plessis, Izzy would have been motivated.
Yeah.
But Sean just didn't really do anything for anybody. Like, no one gave Sean a chance.
That's part of being great, man.
Yeah.
You got to find your own motivation.
Right. I agree. I just think he might be at a point where...
Mamba mentality.
Yeah.
You think he's going to take a break, Christian? I mean, obviously he's...
No. I think he wants to fight. I think he wants to beat Strickland. And I think he wants to...
Beat du Plessis.
I think he wants to fight du Plessis at 300. At UFC 300,
So
which
he gets
I
the
believe
belt
is in
back
April.
in between. He gets the belt back and then fights du Plessis at 300.
At 300. Yeah, I think that's what he wants to do. He's already talked about wanting to fight at 300. Izzy is one of the most active guys in the UFC, despite how incredible that he's been over the last several years. So, no. Did you hear what Eugene Behrman said in the press conference?
No, I didn't get
He
to
said
hear it.
they literally asked Mick Maynard in the back if they could fight again next week. Serious, like
They got to chill out, bro.
he didn't laugh. He wasn't joking. He literally went up to Mick Maynard and was like,
I'd
"Hey,
feel better if he was joking.
Yeah,
he
he
wasn't.
got to chill out.
Nasty word.
They got to stop with that.
Yeah, he said he went up and asked, "Can we fight again next week?" And said that if they were to say yes, that they would 100%.
To hell with that,
Be
dude.
okay.
Izzy was lumped up.
Yeah,
He was lumped
Oh
up.
yeah,
pretty good.
yeah. That's a 5-round fight. Like, you can't fight again next week. But yeah, Izzy's not taking a break.
And also Sean Strickland would be like, hell no.
Yeah, definitely
Crazy.
not.
You're insane.
I don't
You're
know.
insane.
Hey, Sean Strickland ain't calling nobody insane. Sean Strickland probably would do it. He's that crazy.
Sean's a wild dude.
He is wild.
Have you heard much about him, Gabe?
Yeah,
have
no,
you heard
he's
his press conferences?
He's a clown. dude.
God, dog, man, he's a clown.
He's crazy.
I honestly, that win, I'm just kind of like, oh God, more than any win.
No, it makes you sick to your stomach.
like
Like that guy
Yeah.
couldn't have happened to a worse person. You know what I mean?
Just a
Like,
total clown job. I can't stand him.
All right, boys. I think that's going to wrap us up. You look like you got something else. You ready to
Wrap it up.
All right. We appreciate you guys for joining us yet again this week. You can head over to bluffcitymedia.co. Check out everything we got going over there, from articles, podcasts, YouTube videos, all that good stuff. But with that being said, we'll wrap it up. We're going to get out of here, and we'll see you guys back here next week.
Thank you for listening to On the Bluff. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. Head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co for comprehensive coverage of Memphis sports and how you can become an insider.